bylaws, I'm just gonna kind of go through them quickly. I mean, we'll go over some stuff, but, so the name, I think that's pretty self-explanatory for everybody. Move on to the purpose. The purpose of the council is to be an advisory council to the mobility manager, who will be the chairperson and the liaison for the Will County Executive Office. And yeah, you just want to help us educate the community and federal, state, county, local officials about the program. And then when we got into the membership of the council, there are two types of members of the council: organizational and citizen members. Did everybody read over these? If anybody's got comments, go ahead and throw them in. Did I read it?
Hey. First thought there was going to be a quiz.
Right.
We studied.
Right.
Okay, and then now that we're at this part about the criteria, I'm going to let Nick talk to you all about the county executive, county board process.
Just quick, I guess, hearing from the group, the county board and the county executive, we have an appointment process for all the committees that are different entities that we're responsible for. And the county executive nominates people, the county board consents, and it's kind of an official process. We've got an organized process. We thought if no one had an objection to that, I think that may be a good path to go because it's a little more formalized. We have a kind of infrastructure to do that, and generally, there's not problems with that process. I think as far as people being contested, but it gives us a chance to kind of vet people and say, by being part of this group, you don't have a conflict of interest or whatever. People sign off to that effect. I don't want to bureaucratize this too much, but I think it's just kind of contributes to an open process, and I don't think it just gives the board, our board, kind of an opportunity to kind of be participants more in this, because this is Wendy's a county employee via this grant and stuff like that. So I guess that was our thought, just to kind of formalize it, and if people are interested in applying, they apply to the county executive, we submit their name to the board, and we have a formal process, and it gives us a way to kind of check people's participation. If people, give them a term and say, okay, you're going to serve this amount of time, and then because people say, do I want to keep going or do I want to step out? So I guess we'll just open that up if that's acceptable.
So Nick, you're saying that as township that we need to apply to you to be part of this organization?
Well, based on these bylaws, the organizational members, people who are sponsors become members by that right. When you're signing an agreement, you become a member. So we would symbolically you're by doing that, you're a member. But other members, people from the general public, from other groups, I don't want it to be too over the top with, you're applying, you're getting approved, but it just formalizes it, so it's not just people are kind of showing up and leaving and showing up, and we have some structure to it, so we kind of keep a regular list of participants. So when someone says, who's members of this group, we'd say, these people, if they've either become full-fledged sponsors by paying money and run the system, or people who are, such as like Cornerstone or, Center for Independent Living, who are interested stakeholders, who have a vested interest in some governmentally, who may not be, at this point, we always welcome them to give money to the system and sponsor people, but they're interested stakeholders in the process. So if that, if we would write that in, but we wanted to ask that question.
For organizations, for other units of government, we would just identify, say, like Tony Township, get to see, and they
I mean, we're sensitive to people's rights and legal things as an entity, but at the same point, we've got to have some structure to this. And we're trying to, I know a lot of this is cumbersome, but we want to get this flushed out before we get going so that it's clear. So, but yeah.
And by the way, the form that the county asked for folks to fill out is a pretty, it's like almost a one-page.
Yeah, almost one page.
So it's really just kind of,
No background.
there'll be no
checks,
background
fingerprints.
checks. We won't be taking you to Homeland Security.
So you would then identify all the groups that are a part, say, Washington Township, Mooney, whatever, those would be identified on the front end, and then it would be their responsibility to put people onto this board.
Right.
So get a name for the county.
Just for example, let's say our county's focused on the 6 township area, but let's say, down the road, Manhattan Township or Shanahan Township wants to get involved in this group. They say, we want to get involved, we're not ready to be a sponsor yet, but they say, we want to have somebody else. We say, you're part of Will County, which is, Wendy's focuses the whole county. So they say, we want to be participants, so we say, fine. We put you on as a group, make you part of this group. Down the road, if they become a full-fledged sponsor, and they realize some of the grant money, then that takes it to another level. But
Which then I think goes into what we have written underneath everything. Each organizational member should designate one representative and one alternative representative. Citizen members have voting rights, but they do not have a right to designate an alternate. And each organization and citizen member is afforded one full vote on any decisions to put to a vote, and citizen members must be present at meetings to vote. Proxy votes for citizen members will not be permitted. I think that speaks to that as well.
And the other thing I'm told is this is an advisory group. You have a lot of, this is very important to us to have participation because it's going to drive the decisions of what we recommend the county board, but ultimately formal actions being taken by the county board and the sponsoring members are because sponsoring members have to commit to the dollars that are going towards the match. The county's not paying the match for the grant, the sponsoring members are. But I guess it's an advisory group. We don't want to complicate this too much and, again, bureaucratize it. But at the same point, we want to have some formality.
Some level of
Structure, because otherwise it's just we're all just congregating once a month and what's the structure or whatever, so.
Joe, did you have?
Well, it's related, it maybe comes later, it has to do with the voting. Why don't you finish up on that topic? I'm sorry.
Okay. And then I'm on point 3, number 2, the rights and responsibilities. To be in good standing, you must attend 75% of the regular monthly meetings, miss no more than 2 consecutive regular monthly meetings in a calendar year, and must participate in some facet of the council's work program. And the chair will determine if a missing meeting is excused. An excused miss shall not count as non-attendance. Okay, and then we're going on to Article 4, operations of the council. General business. The meetings of the council should be chaired by the Will County Mobility Manager and supported by other county staff to take minutes from the meetings, distribute agendas, and related administrative tasks. Voting shall be reported by county staff and become part of the written minutes. Is that where you want to jump in, or? No, okay, still further down?
6.
Okay. Number 5, meetings of the council, regular meetings. We decided, everybody decided last time, second Friday, 10 a.m. of every month. At the regular meetings, the council may only take such actions or conduct business on items on the posted agenda.
Wendy? I know that Washington Township has applied that 10 a.m. is not a good time for them. All of their township trustees and personnel work full-time jobs.
Correct.
And I know that was my problem before I got retired, that, I could not just take off work, or if you did, it took vacation day or whatever.
Correct.
And so I don't know of other townships. We try to get people so that they can readily come, and I'm sure there's a lot of townships that have the same problem. So maybe something that could be later towards the end of the day,
Okay, I know Nick and I were tossing this around the other day about that, because I think I was talking with individuals as they came in this morning, and I think the consensus last week, or last month, everybody was pretty good with 10, and I noticed that there is a representative from Washington Township today, so I think Mike was able to work that out.
Yeah, it worked today. I know next month he can't make it either because he'll be in Ireland.
Yeah, because in emailing with him, I know I said to him that if it was possible for he and the 4 trustees, and yourself even,
And we
the
have
6 of you to flip-flop, that's a couple times a year for each person, but it's certainly,
I mean, we have, Wendy and I work during the day, we have flexibility, we can also have meetings at night, if that's gonna be better for participation. We can also do it, depending on the day, later in the afternoon. The reason we picked Friday mornings is because it's the end of the week, and we didn't pick Friday afternoons, because most people probably don't want to come in for a meeting on Friday afternoon. However, there are other days of the week, or other days of the month, where we could do an afternoon meeting if that's better for most people. It's just, we want to do whatever so we get the highest level of participation, and I don't think any time is going to be perfect for everybody. So if the elected official can't come, then, ideally they would send somebody, a representative who could at least speak with some authority, even if they have to go back to their elected official and, get feedback and then respond. But ultimately, we want whatever's going to get the greatest level of participation. And if we were to do an evening meeting, this building may be a little more difficult because of security, but Mr. Lewis has been kind enough to offer his Frankfurt Township Hall as a meeting room there. We possibly could use, we could do an evening meeting. Or we could, I don't want to create too much gas because I like having meetings at a certain time you lock and cover, but we could also alternate if we want to do 1 month, do it in the daytime 1 month. It's just whether we're going to post for these meetings anyway because we have county board participation, so we could post and let everyone know far enough in advance, the month before. This month we're going to meet at 10 a.m., next month we'll meet at 6 p.m. or something, It's just so people, whatever works for the group, we're willing to be, because Wendy and I can be flexible, and other staff.
you're retired, Dana?
Unfortunately, my company laid off a bunch of people.
Yeah.
So I guess this is, where are we at in this first group? Is this time a problem for most people, or do we want to consider doing other times in the evening? We can leave that as a question, but.
Well, maybe leave it for now since, there's, I don't know how many other people have expressed that. It was my concern before, and then I know Washington Township had said it was, and I don't know how it affects other townships.
Are there people here now for which this is a problem?
So most people are all right. If it gets to be a problem down the line, maybe something we discuss
Well,
later.
I would like the supervisor to be able to attend some meetings, that's just the issue, so if we could maybe alternate, I think he should be able to, and since it's inconvenient for him to do it on Fridays at 10 o'clock, if there were, like you said, maybe 1 month if we could do it later or something like that in the day or whatever, that would.
Because like I said in the email, I thought between the 4 trustees, him, and I knew that he probably would be sending you some time. If you guys could all alternate, possibly it'd be just a couple meetings a year for each of you.
I know he won't be, maybe he could do one or something, but I'll see about the other ones, but it's, I just think they should be able to be in this in some way, but, they're not retired, so they're still all working, so, that makes it difficult to, I can attend, but I think they need to, at some point, be able to attend too. So if it's not convenient, then we'll just do it at 10 o'clock.
This time works fine, I think, for most of us, but I do think the consideration of an occasional or even alternating evening meetings, it does give the opportunity for the general public to come. think occasional or alternating evening meetings might be helpful, not only for members of the committee, but also for the general public, perhaps, to come on occasion and give comment or at least be able to participate in some way. Various organizations that perhaps have an interest in paratransit and public transportation have more opportunity. And I would make I have a pretty nice community room at my township,
So more than likely, if we did them in the
so
evening, it would be at your
I'm
house.
fairly centrally located, but
Right.
so it's good.
As you can see on the map.
So, yes. It is something to consider. It's not just for the participants, for the committee, a little bit for the public. And I do think that public awareness is partly what we're going to be about.
Well, I
And then
know,
we can become more public, then PACE and RTA would give us more money, right?
Sam from the Will Grundy Center has a whole group of people that would like to show up to one of these meetings.
But I think that, and I would have to talk to our people, but I think for some of our people, because of the way transportation cuts off in this area, a day meeting would be better for them.
Okay.
So, but that's not the whole of the group. But I think probably the majority of daytime would be better. We definitely like to run this by them because we do want them to start participating in those meetings.
Because we have a whole gallery up there, they can sit in.
Well, we run transportation systems, we can get them.
Yeah, right.
That's great. If that's the case.
You just have to let us know.
If that's the case.
These are dates, well, we only operate in the daytime.
Well, so we will cover this, just to keep it moving. We will definitely work on scheduling some dates. We'll make sure people are aware well in advance, but we will schedule evening meetings occasionally. Or some, and maybe we get into a regular pattern, I don't know if it's every other month, but we'll do it so that way it allows, if people can make like say the supervisor, just an example, if he can't come to the Friday morning meetings, then he'll send a rep hopefully, but then he'll come to the township meeting. If somebody who can't get transportation or whatever, for whatever reason they can't come to the evening meeting, they can come to the meeting. So, and we'll schedule the agenda items accordingly. So if it takes us readjusting schedule or agenda items so that the group that wants to speak, we'll put them on at the right time. So, I mean, we're wanting to be flexible as much as we can be. So we'll plan to do that.
Okay, number 2, special meetings. The chair may call a special meeting if the council is required and shall call a special meeting at the request of 1/3 of the members. Business at the special meetings shall be limited to the subjects stated in the call for them. Meeting notice and agendas, an agenda about to include the open meetings. There will be not less than 7 days advance notice in writing of regular meetings shall be given to all members. Not less than 3 business days advance notice in writing of special meetings shall be given to all members. Such notices shall contain the time, place, and proposed agenda to be considered. All meetings of the council shall be subject to the Illinois Open Meetings Act. Quorum, 50% of membership constitutes a quorum. Structure and conduct of the meetings. Parliamentary discretion for the conduct of meetings shall be vested with the chair. Council procedures shall provide an opportunity for all members to be heard on any given issue and for the efficient conduct of business. Public participation at the meetings, any person is welcome to attend. I thought I had these memorized. There'll be 2 separate opportunities for public comment in these meetings. The first shall be specific to agenda items, second specific to other business. The chair shall dictate when these opportunities shall occur in the agenda. Each public comment shall be limited to 3 minutes. This limit can be extended at the discretion of the chair. Article 6, voting.
Wendy, maybe we want to put extended or decrease if there are, for some reason, there's a large number of people with public comments, there may be time we need to cut it down.
Okay.
And also, Wendy, are you the chair?
Yes.
You are.
Wendy is our mobility manager, she's gonna be the point of contact, she's gonna be the person responsible for coordinating all these activities, so, rather than get caught up in elections and stuff like that, we may have ad hoc committees, we'll put people in charge of ad hoc tasks, so be prepared to be asked, but we figured to have some continuity, and so she's gonna be the center of all of this, she's the chair, unless somebody wants to object to this.
It's easier being a pen and that when you're not the chair.
Voting, no vote on substantive matters shall be taken unless the issue to be voted on has been listed in the proposed agenda, and timely notice has been given to all members. A quorum must exist before any formal vote is taken. Each member is afforded one vote on any decision put to vote and must be present to vote. In the absence of a voting organizational member representative, a designated alternate may cast the vote if present at the meeting, otherwise no proxy voting is permitted. All decisions put to a vote with the following exceptions require a majority vote of all members present to pass. The exception, which requires a 2/3 vote of all members present to pass, includes changes or amendments to the bylaws.
Yeah, I was just gonna make one comment on the voting and the membership. I'm from the RTA. I just wanted to suggest that we would not have, we'd be happy to participate as a member or non-member, but we would not want to vote.
You're not
Funding,
voting.
we're participating through the funding, so it doesn't really make sense for us to be in a situation where we're voting.
So did you want me to add a little pause there?
Well, I think it's whatever,
However would that be?
maybe you can add,
You guys
there could be some non-participating voting.
Okay.
Well, I think you'd say who's the voting members, going back, and then you just not include other governmental or the RTA
In case.
in base.
Okay.
They're, what do you call it, they're ex officio members, maybe?
Ex officio.
So we want their participation, but avoid any sense of conflict.
Okay. We'll get it in there somewhere.
We're just put in there, PACE and RTA will be ex officio members.
Okay.
Is that simple?
Yep, I'm writing my notes up.
You know, if I may, just make one real quick comment. You know, this committee is, of course, subject to the Open Meetings Act. I would think that most people in this room have already taken the open meetings required educational, but if not, Nick,
We'll make sure.
you need to make sure you're aware of it. You know, it's pretty simple, just go on the website and go ahead and get the certificate, but I just want to make sure you knew that, you know, we knew everybody here. I'm glancing at it, I'm thinking almost everybody, but they know they're going to have to do that. Just make sure
And
they-
we did post for this meeting, through the county board office, that's another benefit of the county board and that executive appointment process, we can track all that and make sure that people are compliant, so they don't have problems with that.
Okay, Article 7, committees of the council. Working committees can be established if deemed necessary or convenient to conduct the business of the council. These committees can be established upon the affirmative vote of the majority of the council members present at a regular or special meeting. Article 8, compensation of officers. The officers of the council shall serve without salary. Should we strike that? There are no officers.
Yeah. Maybe we should just say the members. Maybe say the members
Compensation of members.
instead of officers, just
Okay.
members of. We like coffee, donuts, occasions.
If you come to my township, I'll always have something there.
Article 9, discrimination. I got feedback on this point from Pam Evans from Will Grundy Center for Independent Living, and I agree. I'm going to add a line in here that includes persons with disabilities. The council shall not, in any of its activities, policies, or programs, discriminate against any person on the basis of race, age, religion, national origin, sexual orientation, persons with disabilities, gender, or any other status covered in the laws of the state of Illinois or the United States Code.
Instead of with persons with disabilities, you could say gender, for any other status.
Okay. That would cover that point.
Or do you prefer,
I prefer
disability? Okay.
Yeah, because you do understand that when you get into that and then you have these meetings and they are provided to the public, if a person with a disability calls and lets you know that they need an accommodation, like that agenda being in braille or larger print or but they would have to call you to let you know that. You know,
Okay.
like that's how we would handle it. Like somebody has to call us to let us know to provide that in that accommodation. But if that's the case, then somebody has to braille it or make it in larger format or make it available on some kind of a CD or, you know what I'm saying?
Correct.
They have to be able to participate.
Okay.
But the county already does that.
Okay.
So I mean, you would do that, if a request is made of any county agency, we would do that.
Okay.
Accommodation, so it is something we already do.
Okay, yeah, Pam just suggested to put the word disability in that line, so Nick thought that was a good idea as well. Okay, Article 10, amendments. These bylaws may be amended by the affirmative vote of 2/3 vote of the council present at a regular meeting thereof, if the notice of such meeting has contained a copy of the proposed amendment. Amendments are considered a substantive issue. Article 11, effective date. These bylaws will become effective upon adoption by 2/3 vote of the council present. So does anybody have any other suggestions or changes to include these in?
Do you need a motion to accept these?
Before that, there's a question here.
Right.
It still confuses me a little bit on the membership. The way I read this is that this group itself decides if somebody can be a member. It essentially says any institution or any employer in the public or private sector of Will County can be a member. But it's subject to this organization saying yes or no. This is an organization that makes recommendations to the county board, correct?
It's an advisory council.
It's an advisory board, which makes it subject to a lot of laws in the state of Illinois. I don't know, it's just an interesting way to constitute it. I guess it's okay, but everybody understands that's what we're doing here. It's not something where so many advisory boards would more likely be appointed by the county supervisor and might include certain groups of people or certain organizations would be on it. But then they are typically, at least in village governments, they are approved by the council. And this has nothing to do with the board, the Will County Board. This organization just seems to have nothing to do with it at all, and yet it's making recommendations to the county board. Is that what we're doing here?
Well, you make a good point, and I think part of our question, we streamlined some based on some of the comments from last time, but if we're gonna go the route of the county executive nominating people, the county board consenting, that does formalize a little bit, and we can spell that out a little more. And I think, to your point, and I think to Donna Deppard's point from earlier about the sponsors of the townships, we can clarify that a little more and say, if you're a sponsoring member, and if you're a sponsoring organization, I'm using one in township, they're going to pass an intergovernmental agreement with the county. So the county board, our communication to them would be, you're approving this IGA, and also we're going to do a formal process to appoint them as a member of this board. So to your point, I guess, county is involved in making the appointments, so it's when maybe we need to make this a little tighter, because it sounds like when we say any of the following organizations are eligible to become a member upon formal adoption of the council's memorandum of understanding by their organization and formal acceptance by the council. Maybe we say instead of formal acceptance by the council, I don't want to seem like the county's muscling this too much, but it's like, instead of saying formal acceptance by the council, formal approval of, appointment by the county board or something like that, because that
They are the elected representatives of the people. And without that, it seems like I could form an organization tomorrow and say that I'm providing adult post-secondary education in Will County. I'm an organization and therefore I want to be on this. And I doubt that there's really an issue there, but
We can clean it up to make it a little tighter.
and it just seems appropriate that the county board has to be involved somehow.
So you're saying then it should say formal acceptance by Will County Board rather than the council?
Yes.
I mean,
I think Mayor Holland makes a good point, that perhaps the organizational structure, the membership structure should be a little more formalized and defined. I think it's an excellent point. As a matter of course, and here again, I'm going to use a committee that was actually created by legislation, and that's Stormwater Management Committee of the county, which is very defined on what the membership will be. The membership is appointments come from the county executive for approval of the county board. But pretty much routinely, because there's such a structure to it, it basically says the municipalities will put names forward. The county board will put names forward. It's not the county board districts. So there's some structure. I don't know if it should be that structured. I guess I'm looking at you now, Nick. I don't know if it should be that structured. But I do think Mayor Holland points out, I think we could be significant weakness of the way this membership structure is being proposed.
well, let me point out one other thing until we insert it, which I don't think we highlighted earlier. Back in Article 1, just because I use this as an example, we have an integrated justice committee, which is criminal justice partners in the county, it's elected officials and agencies, and we inserted language in that, so I just took the same language that says nothing in these bylaws is intended to create policy-making authority to the council for any matter which is retained by the Will County Board of Commissioners under Illinois Compiled Statute. Because we want to be clear, the county board is taking the action, they're the elected officials, they're the ones that have the legal authority. But yes, I think we should just tighten up. And I guess part of our thought too with the county board process is, like Jim was just saying, is we have a structure. If an organization, a known organization is coming, they can participate. But by having the county board process, you give almost kind of a little bit of a vetting process. So if there's some organization that we all know is not a good, credible organization, there's some process to say, no, we don't want to approve them. You know, the county board, county executive doesn't have to nominate them, county board doesn't have to approve them. I don't expect that ever to happen, but in the event that it did, some group that was like, I don't know.
I think that,
So we just need to clear.
I don't know how to interpret Mr. Holland, Mayor Holland is saying, but I'm gonna try to make the point I think he's trying to make. We should have that structure of membership from the beginning to say anybody can become a member. And I know it has a little restriction. To say anybody can be a member is probably a little too wide open of a structure. I think if you define, we're going to be a committee of 21 or 18 or whatever, then I think that you remain a committee of 18. I think you just say that we're going to make sure there's certain representation, which is probably in this room. But you can do it with the current members, but these groups will be represented. I think it's probably, I think we'll create a more successful structure for us to move forward.
The only danger of this, just, and this isn't going to happen, but just the worst case scenario, I'm thinking long term, is if every township participated in the county, we'd have 24 townships, so that would be 24 individual memberships. If every, theoretically, if municipalities wanted to join, they could join, which I don't think there's any municipalities right now that are, well, except for Joliet, is participating in their data rights separate from our efforts. We can, if if you're saying, Jim, is do we set a limit on how many members? I mean, that's not altogether a bad thing, because then we're not having 100 people show up at the meeting, because right now it is pretty wide open.
I mean, at some point, if there's that much, if every township started a system, which I think is unlikely.
Right.
If more municipalities wanted to operate systems, at some point, if there's that many, then they get together and pick 3 representatives. I mean, that's
we can amend
that's
the
basically
bylaw
how
if
we've
we
done
want.
it in the past. So there's not everybody necessarily has to have a seat. They just have to be represented. Too big of a group becomes unmanageable.
Right. Well, we did limit the number of citizens to less than 10%, so that they're not, 200 citizens show up and take over this. If we want their participation, we want public comment, but at some point, the people who have the vested interest are.
But citizens at large, I think it's always nice to have citizens at large, but citizens who participate through public comments and forums. Maybe we should work on this.
I don't think we're ready to approve this today anyway. I think, why don't we take what was common today, we will rework the organization thing in light of the comments. We will circulate that. But our goal is to try to get these approved soon, but we want to do it right, because I think it's much easier to spend the time now, get these hammered out as best we can before we go full-fledged, because then it's harder to change once we're moving. So.
The other part I think you might be able to do with membership, Nick, is list potential ex officio members could be.
Right.
Because you may want people who can participate, but not necessarily, would they be voting members? So I do believe that listing who potential ex officio members could be might be something might be worthwhile if we had also. We said RTA and PACE, but there may be some others who might want to participate, but they might not necessarily, or we might not necessarily want them to have be a voting member.
Yeah, I was listening to the comments that Mayor Allen had made, and it kind of appeared to me that this group, as you were saying, Mayor, that this group ought to be less restricted and or controlled by, I know all around the state and the country, a lot of people claim government's too big, there ought to be less government. It sounds like to me that you're implying that this group ought to be less restricted by the county board and or the executive office?
No, I just thought it was unusual, it seemed to me, that a committee can be essentially anybody who wants to be on the committee if it's approved by the committee. That's the way I kind of read this thing. And I thought it's much more common in government to have people appointed by the chief executive officer and then approved by the board.
That's the system that
way, and often it's done in government where there will be members from the following organizations that the county executive or whoever must have somebody from these following organizations or something.
Well, if I could just ask you directly, Mayor, Nick mentioned that we have a process already in place.
Right.
Were you objecting to that process?
No, I think it works.
Okay.
And I was just wondering why this was so different.
Okay.
The mayor's been through the process, and he's been successfully appointed.
I got successfully appointed.
Multiple times.
I'm not sure I fit any of the criteria. I'm not sure I'm here, so.
Okay.
But I'm delighted to be here.
Okay.
I'm glad.
We're glad. So we'll rework that. I think I hear what you're saying. Wendy and I will hammer out some.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying too. I think that we basically wanted to make it very flexible, that it's a relaxing situation and setting for everyone. And not to let, like you're saying, just anybody come in. I mean, there'd be some controls, but he knows more about the wording of that. So I agree to reword that.
And just, again, are sensitive to the fact that the county, Wendy is working for the county's taking the lead on this. That doesn't mean there's independent players underneath, but since this is being a county-driven process, we are sensitive to the fact that we want to have some controls in place, but we don't want to be too heavy-handed about it either. We want people to feel like there's some flexibility, some openness. But ultimately, at the end of the day, the grant we're administering right now is on the county's shoulder. If it gets screwed up, the county gets the black eye. I mean, but we need, as I started off saying, we want participation because we want feedback and say, does this work in your community, does not work? And if we have a question, we might send you back and say, check this out. So, but I think that it sounds like what we're hearing is a little more structure, a little more formalized still. We need to go a little further in that and to clarify.
Nick, look at the state statute that actually formalized the stormwater management committee. I think that's a little too, maybe a little too restrictive, but it does have a, if you read that legislation, I think you might get a good feel for, you know, that is you have a committee that basically is approved by the county board, but works totally independent. And they talk about that, but works in that legislation, but it's totally independent of the county board. And will even have its own, in that case, it says it'll have its own funding, and will have its own advisors, and so forth and so on. So it shows the independence from the board too, and I think that's what you really want. You want, you know, the committee to work independently.
The thing with this committee though is it's not really independent of the board. It's not making decisions for the board, obviously.
Well, nor does the stormwater management committee. That's why I say it's.
But this board, we have a number of board members participating, so to say it's kind of independent. I mean, board members are participating in what capacity? Is it residents or?
They do on the stormwater management committee,
Sure, yeah.
as just members of the committee,
Right.
representing their various,
I mean, we specifically call this a council, not a committee, because we're trying to avoid.
Oh, that's true.
It's not, well, because the thing I want to be clear on and why we're sensitive to it, but we're trying to we don't tap dance either. This isn't a committee of the county board. This is a council that includes county board participation and all these other entities.
it's independent.
And we want to say that it's not superseding, or that's why we put in a little provision about this doesn't have policy-making authority, because we want to be respectful of our county board members and their legislative or legal right.
I mean, just look at, there's a million state councils and committees, see how they're structured.
I think we can rework the language to satisfy it. So why don't we do that? Bring it back to you. But our goal is theoretically at the next meeting, if possible, to try to get closer to or approval if we can, I think. But if there's still questions, we can go a little further, but we don't want to do this forever.
Okay, and then the next item, update on PACE and RTA agreements. As a matter of fact, we're gonna be sitting down at this meeting with each of them. We have a couple issues we have to get more specific about. And the townships that are ready to participate, I had emailed them. One was raising the fare amount. Right now, the way the services run in Eastern Will County, they're charging $2 round trip inside your township and $4 round trip outside of your township. So we were proposing bringing that up to $4 round trip within the township and $8 round trip outside your township. And I got feedback from Moni that said she was okay.
Oh, no, you're raising it, it was $1 within the township and $2 if you went outside, but now, and it was, you were raising it to $2 within and $4 without, not $4 and $8.
The 1 and 2 is one way. So the 2 and 4 is one way. I'm sorry.
Since we paid each ride, I was doing each ride, so, okay.
Okay.
It's $1 in now, $2 to go outside the township. We're
One
gonna raise
way.
it one way, but we're gonna raise it to $2 in and $4 out, one way.
Correct. And I think to offset, because when I was at Washington Township, we ran the whole time on $1 and $2, and even with the gas prices going up and down. And I know a lot of the people, the drivers would come back and tell me that they got a lot of feedback from a lot of people that couldn't believe that were riding the system, that we were charging more for the fare box.
All right,
So-
now that optional for, senior 60 because of the area aging grant, that was an
Correct.
optional fare that we were trying to charge to help us recoup some pricing and the cost. But it's not a mandatory fare. Is that going to stay the same?
The verbiage for area on aging has to be that it's a donation,
Okay.
but I don't think that there was a problem even when we had to change everything across the board to say donations, they still contributed.
All right, because we do have some low-income seniors, like in our government house, that, when you talk to them about, we have the Dial a Ride program, they're like, well, what does it cost? And, even that $2 or seem to be, to them, an awful lot of money.
And I think you would have to take each individual situation as its own, if that came up, there, and we realize they're low income, we have to take into consideration the special circumstance. But the other thing is, now, with the RTA grant, those people will be paid for. So
Right.
you might take that in.
But they're also, they're a senior, so they can still say it's a donation, and if they don't they don't have to give a donation. Basically, and I just wanted to make sure that from the start that, that whoever new drivers and everything they have realize that just somebody doesn't have it, if they're seniors, they don't have to pay.
Correct, and after this, I'm gonna work out the specifics with PACE on that. And I think the other thing we're gonna work out with them were the boundaries, that's what the maps are all about, so that everyone can see who had questions. We have GIS map the whole 6 township area out, and then we had them draw concentric circles from each point, up to a 10-mile radius and up to 20 miles, just to show everybody how the distance that is, and to this point of where we've been going. And that 10 miles radius pretty much covers where we've gone. I think we've gone inside that 10-mile radius actually with the service before.
But what are we saying?
The inner circle is what we currently see.
This is Eastern Will County now,
Right.
is what's up and running. I mean, and there are other dial rides, but this is where I'm trying to coordinate these east and west, I guess is what I should say. So we had GIS map this up to show everybody of the 6 townships, the nearest hub, the reason for the dial ride is because there's no public transportation. The nearest thing is the University Park Metro. And then we've also coordinated with Rich Township, if they're going downtown, that we take them, Washington's running now, they go up to Rich Township and then they'll take them on. But we had someone else brought up the fact that Silver Cross is going to be the new county hospital, so now we gotta throw that in the mix of how we're gonna get everyone over there just by ourselves, or try and coordinate somewhere in the middle here with the other services that are there.
But what people might not understand is that the RTA grant that we have at present that we're working with is for the 6 townships. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yes.
It can be.
The Will County grant?
Yes, our Will County
Yes.
grant is the RTA for the 6.
This is the target area, and we're trying
Is
to
that happening now?
work, pardon me?
What's happening today? If somebody in Green Garden needs transportation to,
They can call the current service and ride. We pretty much, right now, we go as far north as Homewood, Harvey, I would say is the northern point.
Yeah.
We are around Orland because I figured out at the Orland Mall, there's a PACE fixed route, and we've had residents from Beecher that come out to crazy thing about that is, they live in Will County, but the workshop is in Cook County, so the PACE buses won't cross the line. That's why we have to. So we got those two individuals, and because we were going that far, when people in Beecher started asking about Orland, as long as I could load a vehicle up, we were taking them. But if someone had to go into Joliet, we'll take them out to Orland. They got on the fixed route bus, ride it into Joliet, and come back, and we grab them later in the afternoon when they're doing the pickups of the disabled individuals.
But this is all a substantial change from, what, a few years ago? Yes or no?
You know what, I don't know, East, what was their
Will
name?
County, well, it used to be East Will County Senior Citizens, then it was changed to something else. Used to handle all the south suburban area from Moni and Creed and Washington and, you know, Beecher and those.
But I'm thinking specifically Green Garden.
And Green Garden also. There's
I
never
was-
really been much traffic out of Green Garden, actually.
I've had, I think, two,
We've actually just gotten a couple more.
did you?
Yeah, I think there might be 4.
We had it when we were taking.
It may be as simple as people like myself didn't understand there was a place that they could call, Green Garden, because,
I can honestly say that when I sent out the communications, I've never ever to this day, and I don't know if Teresa has now, because Teresa is now there in my spot that I was at, I never received a response from the Green Garden Township Supervisor, ever.
right.
And I tried several
There have been
times.
people who have contacted Frankfurt and said, we've got a son with some problems, needs transportation. And we would call Jim and he would say, well, you know, we don't go down there, or whatever. But we haven't handled it properly, in my opinion, anyway, and we will from now on.
Well, I'll tell you what we did too was.
It is on a rather pricey area in Frankfurt.
But I mean, if individuals did call, and particularly the one lady that I knew of that we took, all we did was take her to the UP train station, they were going right past her house.
Right.
So whether or not we were gonna get a contribution from the township, you might as well pick her
It's
up.
good to hear that they're servicing.
And when we
Right.
finally
You know what I
told her she
Well,
couldn't keep charging Moni for those.
Right.
Let me say this a little bit. The 6 townships in the green, 6 East Will County, Green Garden, Creed, Washington, Will, and Peter, that was in the target area of the RTA grant, which really hasn't gotten very far, because we started, this whole process, and I went through the history, I'm not gonna bore you all, but Southland Senior Service provided the service before they went away. Washington Township picked it up on the fly and has been trying to do it since then, but we've never made a clean break from that, and now Washington Township has gone through a transition of leadership, so I don't want to put Teresa on the spot, but I don't know that they've made the decision which direction they're going officially, but the county has this grant, which is, my friends in the RTA in the corner have been very patient, but we have to move forward. And so that 6 township is where we start from. Whether we amend that and expand that out, we hope we're going to expand it out. What we're trying to do here is show, here's our 6 township targeted area, and we have to make a decision operationally with our provider, which we're moving, as we said last month, to a PACE contractor to provide the service, not a township, but a PACE contractor. They need to know how far outside a township we can go. We talk about fares of $2 in the township. So if I'm in unincorporated Washington Township, now I'm going to Beecher, it's $2. If I'm in unincorporated Washington Township and I want to go to Frankfurt Township, it's $4. But if I want to say go outside the township, if I want to go to Wisconsin Dells, you can do that for $4? No. So we're going to say an upper limit. So what we wanted to do with this is just to show some of that kind of inside baseball thing is how does the structure work? What is 10 miles out? How far does that get you to? And what does that allow you to connect to? Because really what all this is about is coordination and connecting people from an area that's underserved by fixed routes just because there's a need. How do we connect them with a rich township, which then opens up the rest of the world because they can get downtown? Or you getting them to UP gets them on a train, which gets them into the RTA, PACE, CTA system. If we get them to Silver Cross Hospital, get them over to Joliet, or if we get them over to Joliet, then you can get on the Joliet fixed routes, the metro trains. So this is more a tool for us to decide
where are the connection points, where are the, I guess the word is the nodes, the other nodes they can connect to. So this is just to show you, but for example, Frankfurt Township, which Jim is the supervisor there, can we connect with that or bring them into the mix somehow here where doing so?
You know, you mentioned like Green Garden. Green Garden, I don't think associates as much with the eastern townships as they do with Frankfurt. Yeah, I think they do associate and look to Frankfurt, and in many instances, like early voting and so forth, Frankfurt Township does, Green Garden does it also for Green Garden Township. When it comes to transportation, and here's where the coordination comes in, is there has to be some buy-in by Green Garden. You know, it can't be Frankfurt Township. You know, Frankfurt Township taxpayers heavily subsidize this system. Heavily, actually. I mean, really, it's if you just look at it from a financial standpoint, you can say, what are you doing? So, we cannot start subsidizing people outside of our township.
No,
State law, you couldn't anyway.
So, right. So,
I understand what you're saying, it's
so
just, we
if they
had,
wanted to participate and say, Frankfurt Township, and this could be like the village of Frankfurt also. If you say, well, look, we have some residents in our village that live in Green Garden Township, what can we do for them? Well, we can, if there's willing to be some participation, to say, well, we'll subsidize $3 a ride if you pick those folks up. There's ways of working it out, but it can't be, but there has to be buy-in from the other governmental entities.
correct.
That's why I don't go to Green Garden. That's why Frankfurt Township doesn't go to Green Garden Township, because this is almost exclusively paid for. Frankfurt Township at this point gets no subsidies from PACE, none, with the exception of you get low-cost equipment. So 100% of this program, at the tune of $200,000 a year, which is a lot of money for a township, is coming from the Frankfurt Township PACE.
So you'll have 50%.
So you need to understand those dynamics. I mean, so I'm not going to take Frankfurt Township dollars and spend them in Green Garden.
No, correct, it was, like I was explaining, though, I never got a response, so the single woman, I mean, literally, they were driving past her house, and they were going the same direction, so
You mentioned
let her
about
pay her fare and put her in the
subsidizing
bus.
seniors. I've been picking up my poor seniors for free forever.
I want to answer Mayor Howell's question because I don't think it's clear. The townships in that 6 township area who want to participate, townships, municipalities, or whomever, if they want to sponsor the ride, they pay for the share of the cost of the ride that isn't covered by the RTA. So if they're an eligible rider, if Wendy's a rider and she meets the criteria to be covered by the New Freedom or the JARC or whatever funding source, that covers X amount of money. In the RTA's funding stream, it's 50% of the cost. So the rider pays, say they want to go out of township, it's $4. So whatever the fare cost is, minus $4 is the cost. RTA grant pays up half, the township pays half. If there's no sponsor, then the township is, or whoever isn't sponsoring the ride, there is no service. We can open it up where the rider pays the full fare, but that's the idea, is that some local entity, or an organization, a community group, a township, a municipality, whomever, can fund their sponsoring, and the rider pays the fare, and the balance, the rider pays the fare, and the balance is split for the eligible riders, between RTA and the sponsor. But Green Garden Township doesn't have the funds or the interest or what have you to step up and be a sponsor at this point. They've made that decision. We would love to have them participate. We'd love to have some of the other townships in the area join this effort, because then you're increasing efficiency by getting this coordination.
So Green Garden people need to put pressure on their Green Garden townships and to participate is what needs to be done.
Yes.
If they're sponsors, we can be the operator.
Or the village of Frankfurt.
Or we need to talk.
I hope that makes sense, though. But this, we're gonna have a discussion with PACE and RTA after this meeting, because we have to work out some finer details. But the goal is for the county to pass a formal resolution working with PACE and their bid out contractor to start providing the service as soon as possible. And the townships who are choosing to participate in this program will pass intergovernmental agreement with the county, and we will start this process finally to get going in spending this RTA grant that we have funding for.
Hope so.
And we've had a couple starts and stops on this, but this is what the grant was intended for and where all these efforts come. So it's a long time coming. It's taken longer than we've ever wanted, but these things do take a long time to get going because of all this complexity. And there's other funding sources, the area agency and other funding sources which make it difficult. We're trying to simplify that. And then do education so that people, riders, and all of you as partners can share the information. Here's who you call, here's how you do it.
I have a question that just arose in my mind as I'm listening to this. Are there any ridership goals that have been established for the program? I know, we're enhancing coordination, we're improving education about the services that exist, and
Yeah, I think originally when we wrote the grants, and I think they're just about there.
I mean, is that the intent, is to serve more people? I know we're trying to improve coordination and efficiency, but are we trying to actually expand service?
Trying to get accessibility to people with special needs and particular other groups, senior groups. So that's why I don't know if there's, so the goal is to reach out and make the systems accessible. That's how I view it. And then it's not like, oh, we're gonna try to get 25% more rides.
No target.
Yes,
We're targeting.
There are targeted numbers in the.
There are.
Yeah.
There are in the
But that's-
grant.
Yeah, but that's
That's
based
what
on
PACE and
the-
RTA are looking for, our ridership staff.
And then that will be tracked over the life of the grant
Monthly.
Yeah.
monthly?
They have an area where you can look all that up, and they have all the stats for all over the place, all of the time, and what they're looking for is the increase in ridership all the time to know that the program is successful.
Okay.
So we have a targeted group of riders.
We have the
Our
6
goal-
township
this
target
is-
area right now.
This is not like a
and-
general transportation system.
I think it says kind of in our, basic agreement that it's for, the seniors and disabled, and for, actually with the RTA grant, it throws in low income,
Job
right to work,
access.
job type of a thing, so there is a whole thing there.
Because
Now,
it used
as
to-
to townships can participate, like with our agreements, we can participate and we can set the limits, like we know that we have certain dollar amounts to spend, so we can say, hey, this is what we have to spend, and so these are the groups that we, basically are trying to cover with those dollar amounts.
And I think what I've found since I was brought out to the county, there was a time when everybody was worried about getting the seniors around because everybody knows they're living longer. Disabled persons, they've had some other options. They're still having struggles, though we're trying to handle that as well. But now the shift has moved towards people trying to get to jobs. There's people not buying cars. So public transportation is coming back around, and it's coming fast and fierce. And that's what this project's all about, is trying to figure it out.
I don't want to be distracted from it, but it does relate a little bit to what you're asking. And that is, look, I'm not only a sponsor of my township, I'm an operator. Now it costs me $12 for every ride. And I recoup $3 a day at the fairbanks. So every ride is subsidized at a $9 rate. Look, my incentive is
cost per ride would go down.
Oh, to what, 8, 7? Am I ever gonna break even?
No,
No.
it's going to be a subsidized.
So my point is that
Subsidized system.
for me as an operator, our township justifies it by saying we service a certain group that has need. You know, you'll pick up your kid so he doesn't want to drive a school bus, driving back and forth to school every day is not what I'm looking for. You know, if somebody needs to get to a job, okay, you know, that's one thing.
But, you know, I
But
think,
my point is that, no, I'm not incentivized to go out and see how many riders I can get. I'm looking to serve a specific group who has a special need. Or is it and that can include people who are in a situation where economically they have no other choice. So I just want to make, you know, from my perspective, as an operator, you know, I can't justify it as a general transportation system.
but if you load the bus, the cost per rider
If I
doesn't.
loaded that bus, then it only cost me $4 a rider. So instead of costing me $8 for 100 people, it's costing me $4 for 400 people. Guess what? I'm still going backwards.
But we are going to pick up
Michael?
ridership because overall, I think once everything gets started, we're going to have more information out there. We're going to do more, you know, more publicity on it. So we are going to, you know, right now, you know, we have newsletters that have all this information in it. But I think, you know, as a push goes forward, that there's information got to get out there, so you're automatically going to pick up a few more riders.
And I might point out, this committee is the Paratransit committee, and it's not general transportation or council, if you want to call it committee. And most of us are on the PACE side of this operation, which is Paratransit. We're not part of the RTA. We're only part of the RTA system, in that PACE is funded by the RTA. But PACE even has its own separate board. It's not, right? So I just want to point that out when we talk about ridership. You know,
Did
my
anybody
goal
on
is to
today
reach out
want
to those people in
comment
need.
exactly what you guys do for the service boards? I think there's miscommunication
Well,
about
I
that.
don't know, I mean, I'm agreeing with what you're saying there. I mean, you're just stating some common facts on transportation. The more riders you have, even if the cost per trip goes down, there's the quantities there, the subsidies going up until the gross allowance. And so there is a balance between getting a service out there that's operating well and getting enough people to support the service. And the evaluation measures, while the simplest one is the number of riders, that really is not the only measure on the services. And what you're talking about is exactly what most services look at. Are you providing the service to the people you have targeted to get the service to? Have you basically improved their ability to get around? And the only comment I wanted to make was that you know, in addition to Metro and PACE, you have these supplementary services here. They're being funded through 100% federal dollars. This grant that's being funded to the county is 100% federal. RTA is administering it, but we're following all those federal rules. And you have two basic components there. One is your people with disabilities, and that grant has people with disabilities defined very broadly, so it incorporates a lot of your seniors. In general, probably all your seniors. And then the other part of the grant, this is another part of the money, is the job access reverse commute money. And that's where you're talking about the low income, getting people to jobs. And that's why when you're looking at that chart, it becomes important to figure out where your people are going to go. If you're really going to do job access reverse commute, and you're bringing some people, let's say the workshops, that counts as that. If you're bringing people out to some of the employment centers that are outside that area, how far you can be willing to go. And then Wendy is mobility manager in the county. They're not, I don't want to speak for the county, but I'm trying to get a context of this service. You're not necessarily limited to the grant, you're limited to money in those grants, but it doesn't stop the county or the townships or anyone else from looking at other options on how to accomplish the service. PACE has got the van pool program, and some of you take advantage of that. So there's lots of elements here, but I know that the one that the county's focusing on is getting this RTA grant, which is the Job Access Reverse Commute, and the new Freedom Park going. And I don't want to complicate things, but just to let you know that we're also working on the new transportation legislation that was passed, and they changed those programs. So once this grant is over, Job Access Reverse Commute is going away, and Freedom is going away, and it's come back under a new name called Section 5310, which they expanded. The only reason I'm mentioning that to you is that the other complicating factor is the environment you're working with, the funding environment, is constantly in flux. And that's why, the county needs this committee going, because there's going to be decision points along the way that you're going to have to advise the county on which way to go.
Go ahead, Sally.
Hi, I'm Sally Williams with PACE, and I just want to kind of piggyback on what you're mentioning. I know that you guys are, to the point where you have to get moving on this. So I just wanted to be clear on what PACE is going to be contracting for the service with the county to provide the service. There's really just a couple of things that we need specifics on. Basically, what do you want us to do, when do you want us to do it, and where do you want us to do it? So, in speaking of the current sponsors, those 6 townships, even if they don't participate, at the beginning, they can come in later or what have you, those that choose to participate now, I suggest you get together so they can make those decisions, because that's their service area. So those 6 townships need to get together with whoever's participating so they can decide where they want their passengers to go, when they want them to travel, and I think you've already addressed the fare structure. And then we can put something together in terms of a service description that everybody's in agreement with. We also have to lay out and make sure they understand what their responsibilities are, as Joe mentioned. There are qualifications to that grant. Somebody has to be responsible for the eligibility of participants and make sure and track those, because you have to report those things to the RTA. So those types of vehicles need to be in place. And that's what I think we're going to discuss after this meeting. But that's what we need. We need to know what, where, so we can get it to flow.
And Wendy, you were getting at the where, I guess, with this talk. Is that where we were going?
Correct. We just, I think it was to show the people that are participating now how, because if they've ever questioned why are we going that far, I mean, pretty much the 10-mile radius covers it, but I don't think that everybody realizes if you're starting down here, it's a long way to go over to here, even though it's within the service parameters. But that's just the way it is because it's so spread out. But I think we need more coordination in here between Eastern and Western to alleviate some of this.
And certainly the goal is to get people to where they need to go.
Correct.
Which may be healthcare facilities and maybe employment centers and maybe we have experts here where they go.
They go shopping.
But they don't necessarily go in a perfect 10-mile circle.
Correct.
The graphic here is not really what we want to do, right? It's not to say, oh, somebody wants to go over halfway across Indiana, so that's fine. You can, that's within 10 miles.
But let me interrupt you there. This one is just a kind of a roundabout estimate, but they are actually, people are going to be, because there are, we don't have it all
I'm not saying we shouldn't go to Indiana. I'm trying to say that what we should show on a map, or what we need to tell PACE, is where people can go.
Correct,
And I think you're gonna end up having to be selected
correct.
to serve the most people, or else you're gonna serve this one person who happens to have some reason to wanna go down into northern Kankakee County somewhere, or somewhere where hardly anybody would ever go, but for some
Well,
reason
that was,
person.
this is another thing in my
I don't
experience
know how you do this, but
that
it
I was trying,
seems like you gotta go to the logical places people are gonna go.
I did start trying. River Valley Metro is a fixed route
Okay.
for Kankakee. They come up to the University Park train station every day, so many times a day.
Yes, you do.
So I was trying to get these riders to let us take them over there and put them on that bus if they had to go down to Kankakee.
And go to Kankakee.
To
Kankakee's a
coordinate, so
major
you're not running
employer,
side
so
by
it
side
Might be a place to go.
all
Do
day
a lot
long.
of transferring if you want to go very far. In other words, we get you to another.
But you know, the nice thing about it is I've watched the River Valley Metro bus, and it's just like the bus that our paratransit buses out of Washington Township. If someone was in a wheelchair, you can get out, put down the lift, roll them over to their lift them up, and they're in that side of that bus and gone. I mean, it's not, I'm not saying it's like downtown Chicago, all, you know, transfer here, there.
So how do
But
we
there's
explain
connections.
this to PACE?
The goal is, this was not, this discussion was just to show you a flavor. It wasn't to have the committee decide this, we're gonna have the working group, because the people who are actually paying the bills, like Sally said, we've had those discussions, we've had small meetings with Moni, with Creek, with Washington at some level. They're gonna make these decisions because they have to pay a bill. And to Jim's, some are willing to pay for more, some are willing to pay for less. The ones who want to pay for less are gonna say, we're putting this amount of money, and that's it, so.
Makes total sense.
I figured out connections, it's just getting people to, you know, because, I mean, it's so rural out here. They feel like if they have to make a transfer, oh my God, it's the end of the world, we're in the city. I
And
mean,
Wendy has access to all the records of what we've been doing for the past 2 years, so she knows where we go and what we do, so she has
And we
all
do
that
go
information.
down to Riverside, and we go down to St. Mary's and Kankakee. And like she
But
says,
see, I'm
they
trying to
don't
alleviate
want
that.
to, you know, they feel like it puts them out if they have to transfer from one bus to another. How can I make my appointment, you know? 'Cause-
but see, but then, you know, that way, we're running side by side with a bus that's perfectly capable. Because I had someone, they've had, I'm gonna have to sit out there at the train station. I said, no, basically, you're gonna roll off of our lift onto their lift and be back onto that bus, and it'll be a
But
30-second
it sounds like
train.
you've got another meeting to give PACE the information.
Did you already say this, Wendy? I mean, do you have data from the townships that operate service now on the origins and destinations of the trips that they've been providing over the last few years? So you can do an analysis of, you know, where the most, you know, heavily, you know, in demand destinations are, so that you can just start picking some of those
Mhm.
and incorporating that into the service area for PACE?
Yes, I mean, and that was my point too, when I was explaining to Mr. Mooses about putting more people on the bus. It wouldn't pay for us to start over here and take this one girl all the way to the workshop in Tinley. So that's why there were other people that were coming along, going to adult daycare centers, things like that. I loaded up that bus, so it wasn't just the driver and one person. And if you're gonna go 45 minutes that way, you'd rather pick up $12 for that ride than $2. And then you're gonna pick up 12 coming back. So that's where my thought process is about loading the bus up. For that hour, you're making your money back, you're breaking even.
So that's one of the things you're working out with PACE, that they will be doing those type of scheduling, what right now we have done by Washington Township, that they are going to be doing that same thing, so that.
PACE has a scheduling software that is so efficient. People call in, tell them where they're going, and it just takes the person and throws them on this bus or this bus or this bus. So they're loading buses. That's why it's much more efficient and, but like I said, you know, when Sally and I were talking, she's like, how far are you going? And we go far. I mean,
Are you proposing to make the service area, you know, that 10-mile radius from the 6-county
oh, I think we
township
can,
target area?
I think
Is that
we
what
can
you're
pull it in
proposing?
from that. We just wanted to let, like, someone like Donna realize, you know, where we've gone. We're actually not going out of this whole area. We're actually not going beyond 10 miles. If you look, you know, getting over this way.
What a lot of places do is they'll say you'll have like a core service area, and the core service area is within those 6 townships. And then what Wendy will do with PACE, they'll look at the records and stuff, just like she mentioned Silver Cross Hospital. You have a major medical center here, you have a major employment center. So when you're going outside those areas, you may only take the trip to one of those specific destinations. Those are all things, Wendy, we work it out with PACE.
Yeah,
That's helpful in understanding, because you're not necessarily going to designate that 10-mile radius a service area, but you're going to be able to pick some destination points within that 10 miles as part of your service
Yeah, I
area.
think what the county, Wendy and the county are going to be doing now, what we're seeing down in PACE is to get a better understanding of what the cost of that service is in terms of the relationship with the contractor, and then try and apply a budget to it, and then match, come back to this group once it's rolling with these kind of scenarios of what looks like can or cannot be done. And you may have to make some policy decisions on whether you're willing to go to a special center, whether it's employment or medical 15 miles outside the area, or you make a decision you're not. I mean, those are the kinds of things that Wendy will be working on with things.
yeah, because Alicia, to your question, one place in particular I could say is St. James and Olympia Fields. A lot of people go there because the other places are closing. And actually, my neighbor worked for Boulevard, and she got moved out to Olympia Fields because they closed that whole thing on Dixie Highway, and they went them all to go over to Olympia Fields now.
That makes sense.
So there's a big, but we don't have enough data for PACE to put in a fixed route yet. There's not enough ridership. And I thought, my gosh, we're really busy, we go there quite a bit, but they have a certain number and we don't meet the criteria yet, so we can't do a fixed route to that point yet.
Well, that raises a good question. If you are able to provide more rides between Eastern Will and St. James and Olympia Fields, and you track that data at some point in the future, you could, use that data to make the case for new fixed route service. So is that's a longer term outcome of this?
As a part of it, when you're talking about the reporting, I had to generate reports where the scheduling software is super nice because once you enter the data, all they have to do is go, oh, Washington Township, month of July, cha-ching. It'll spit out the whole report, every rider, where they went. And I was doing this all on my own at Washington Township. I developed a sheet by myself. And I was doing it all manually. And so there's tons of data, but I had to report all that data as well to RTA and PACE at given month. So then they input they've got it in their system, they input it. So, and they, like, on RTA's website, they have the one area, RTAMs. You can go in there and look up anything you want in Will County.
So there'll be a lot more data now that will come out of this because it'll be centralized in the software or the system that the RTA has.
They already have it all in there. I mean, it won't, you probably can't get down to specifically where the riders went, but they can show you from each township how many rides came out in and out. All right, everybody ready to adjourn?
One question, have they come up with what a cost would be to the township for how much this would cost if we went with?
I'm gonna be emailing you guys that information probably on Monday.
Okay,
'Cause
can
I'm
you,
sitting down with them now.
include me in the emails?
Yes.
Because I,
Oh, copy you?
copy me, please. because I don't get them and, you know. only-
That's another specific thing we were gonna talk about.
Okay, that was one of our questions.
She threw out an average though, and to me, it does sound similar. No, it does sound similar to what we've had.
Okay, all right.
So, but I'll get more specific so that you
Yes,
guys
that
know.
would be wonderful.
Cause she, and I also want, so you all know when I approached Pace about that, she said it's very hard to give you a specific number because they don't know where they're going to be taking people. And it changes month to month. But she gave me an average across the board that we could work with. So we're gonna nail down on that a little bit more today too. And then I was gonna.
Similar to the cost structure that we're operating under now.
Yes. Slightly more, but you'd have to realize with it, the scheduling software is a part of the cost, which we didn't have before. And the call center is a part of the cost. So those are a couple extra operating costs that are gonna go into this.
In all of this, we do have to remember that townships do not have a lot of money, so we do need to make sure that we keep costs down as much as possible, because we want to help our seniors, we want to help our disabled, but we do not have bottomless pocketbooks.
Correct. But that, like I said, with scheduling software, it should become a lot more efficient. Because, you know, it's one of those things where it's down to a science. Because that's the other thing, when they dispatch, they have tablets in the vehicles. So they have the schedule all day. So if this driver's running behind, it's gonna take that person and throw them to this guy that's gonna come by in a couple minutes to pick them up. It's very efficient and run
Great. And you know how we try to do that, when it doesn't work. I mean,
manually.
yesterday I get this call, okay, this person's ready, but